He stormed 14 real battlefields and still couldn't outrun the one enemy Hollywood never warned him about. Frank Sutton, television's indestructible Sergeant Carter, looked tougher than a bulldozer in uniform. Yet on a steamy Louisiana night in 1974, his heart waved the white flag. Some fans still whisper that the official story doesn't add up. Tonight you'll hear the war-forged rise, the secret warnings, and the late-breaking clues that finally close the case. Whether you like the ending or not. Frank Spencer Sutton arrived in Clarksville, Tennessee on October 23, 1923, at the worst possible economic moment. The Great Depression gutted his father's hardware store, stripped neighbors of paychecks, and turned Sunday dinners into thin soup. Yet 10-year-old Frank kept stealing away to the back porch, practicing Shakespeare soliloquies he'd memorized from frayed library books. Classmates thought he was pretending to be a radio in human form, voice booming, posture rigid, imagination on overdrive. Pearl Harbor changed the script overnight. Sutton sprinted to the Marine Corps office, flunked the physical for colorblindness, swore under his breath, and enlisted in the U.S. Army instead. Within 18 months, Sergeant Sutton was leaping from landing craft with the 293rd Joint Assault Signal Company, 14 times, from Leyte to Luzon. Mortar smoke irritated his eyes. Shrapnel scored his helmet. Discipline scored his soul. He earned a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart, and a reputation for charging headfirst into danger when radio contact fizzled. But the battlefield that truly rewired him was 3,000 miles away, in a New York classroom. War ended, and Sutton swapped foxholes for footlights, enrolling at Columbia University on the GI Bill and graduating cum laude in drama. In cramped dorm rooms, he taped handwritten quotes above his bed. Work until talent blushes, then pulled all-nighters dissecting Chekhov. By day he studied diction drills. By night he inhaled 2 packs of unfiltered Camels, rehearsing lines until sunrise. Early TV jobs, Captain Video, Edge of Night, live anthology dramas, paid peanuts but hardened his timing. When a boom mic slipped and thunked him on the scalp during a live broadcast, he kept his eyes locked on the camera and improvised a line that saved the scene. Producers noticed. He was soon juggling 12 appearances a month, each one adding another brick to the tower of sleepless nights. Between takes, he kept a dog-eared notebook labeled FIXIT. Inside, a checklist of flaws he vowed to erase. Lazy diction, stiff shoulders, loud breath on close-ups, even a reminder to trim the hair sprouting from his left ear. That relentless self-editing became a blessing on camera and a curse on his arteries. One rejected audition would twist that drive into destiny. CBS needed a believable drill instructor for a one-off Andy Griffith episode. Sutton marched in 45 minutes early, barked, "Move it, Pyle," and the casting table jolted. 5 days later, the network ordered a full spin-off. Gomer Pyle, USMC. Irony, meet destiny. The Marine Corps had said no. Now Hollywood handed him the sergeant's stripes. Behind the scenes, he was shy, even tender. Co-stars remember him fixing a child extra's crooked cap with surgeon-like care and slipping $20 bills to crew members struggling with rent. Yet the moment cameras rolled, he detonated. Face crimson, veins bulging, voice like rolling thunder. Viewers thought the rage was real. Frank secretly funneled wartime memories, foxhole panic, friends lost, to give Carter that volcanic edge. PTSD wasn't a diagnosis yet, but the flashbacks were. He'd excuse himself between takes, stare at a wall until the tremor in his hands subsided, then snap back for the next scene. He also drew on his father's steely storekeeper voice, the one that could silence a brawl in 2 syllables. Frank mixed paternal command with battlefield scars, then sprinkled comedy on top like a grenade wearing a clown nose. The chemistry exploded ratings. 22 million weekly viewers at its peak. Gomer Pyle rocketed into Nielsen's top 3. Fan mail flooded CBS by the sackful. Letters from Marines thanking him for dignity, from kids scrawling "Ghoulie" in crayon. His salary ballooned, but so did his schedule. 16-hour shooting days, cross-country promo junkets, guest spots on variety specials, and, bizarrely, voiceovers for a toothpaste commercial that required retakes past midnight. Chest flutters started around 1972. A Beverly Hills cardiologist scribbled, "Angina, immediate rest advised." Frank folded the paper, slid it into his wallet beside the Bronze Star citation, and pretended nothing happened. At rap parties, he'd laugh off shortness of breath. Just clearing the smokestack, boys. But friends noticed the belt on his dress greens letting out notch by notch. His wife, Toby, urged him to switch to filtered cigarettes. He compromised by crushing the filters flat so they didn't get in the way. Instead of slowing down, he booked himself into a very different war. August 1966. Da Nang Air Base. The heat felt like opening an oven. Sutton, still in Carter's fatigues, hopped off a C-47 and performed comedy sketches on sandbag stages while mortar thumps echoed in the distance. He sang parody drill chants, roasted officers who laughed hardest at the jabs, and signed autographs on sea rations. He slept on cots, subsisted on black coffee, and chain-smoked through meet and greets with Marines barely old enough to shave. When a sniper round cracked the air during a joke about KP duty, the crowd ducked. Sutton never flinched. He simply pivoted the punchline, adding, "See, even Charlie knows bad chow when he smells it." Applause roared louder than the outbound artillery. By the 8th day, he'd logged 56 appearances across E-Corps, from Quang Tri to Chu Lai. A chopper pilot later recalled seeing Sutton wipe sweat off his forehead, check the time, and ask, "We got room for one more show before sunset?" As though adrenaline replaced blood in his veins. He returned to LA, dehydrated, hoarse, and 20 pounds lighter, but refused a post-tour physical. The Army vet in him thought doctors were for men with missing limbs, not missing sleep. When Gomer Pyle ended in 1969, Jim Nabors launched a music variety hour and insisted Sutton join the cast. Nabors sang opera. Sutton cracked jokes. Ratings rode high until network suits decided the military shtick looked dated next to Vietnam protest footage filling nightly news. Executives allegedly told Nabors, "Drop Frank or lose your slot." Nabors chose loyalty. The show vanished from the lineup within weeks. Sutton returned the favor by never speaking ill of the network in public. Instead, he shoved that corporate snub deep inside and sprinted back to live theater. Dinner playhouses from Fort Lauderdale to Fresno. Cheap motel pillows, greasy truck stop meals, little applause but instant cash. He'd greet patrons tableside before curtain, thanking them for keeping theater alive. At one Ohio venue, the air conditioning failed, cranking the stage temperature past 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Frank performed the entire farce in a wool blazer, wringing his cuffs out between scenes like soggy towels, refusing an understudy. All roads now pointed to Shreveport. And the point of no return. June 28, 1974. The Beverly Barn Dinner Playhouse, Shreveport. Patrons forked fried catfish as Frank tightened his tie backstage for Neil Simon's Love. He felt a stab beneath his sternum, sharp, electric. Leave the stage? Never. Minutes before the curtain, he whispered to a stagehand, "The audience is waiting." Then his knees buckled. He hit the linoleum, clutching his chest, eyes wide with something between shock and apology. EMTs worked 14 minutes. Time of death, 8:25 p.m. He was 50 years old. The coroner ruled massive myocardial infarction, tobacco-scorched arteries, chronic stress, untreated hypertension. In the margin of the report, a note. Had been advised cardiac testing, declined. News bulletins the next morning described a healthy-looking star gone in an instant, sparking rumors of foul play. Tainted food, backstage sabotage, even a ludicrous theory about a jealous understudy slipping pills into his coffee. None of it stuck. But the absence of a tidy narrative left a vacuum, and vacuums inhale conspiracy. The funeral took place in Nashville, under gray skies so heavy they seemed to mourn him. Marines in dress blues folded the flag with textbook precision and handed it to Toby. She didn't cry until the rifles fired the final salute. Then she sobbed like someone ripping up the script of the life she knew. Hollywood's elite sent wreaths, yet the industry machine rolled on without pause. Within a week, another sitcom audition notice jokingly requested a Frank Sutton type. Toby taped that clipping to the fridge as a reminder of how fast memories fade. Their son Joe, then 23, vowed to honor his father by writing plays that make people feel the heartbeat you can't see. He later premiered a courtroom drama on Broadway that carried a dedication, "For Dad, who taught me a voice can move mountains until the mountain moves back." Toby herself became a quiet guardian of Frank's archive. She cataloged every script, uniform, and fan letter, securing them in climate-controlled boxes. She also cold-called medical journals, urging editors to feature Sutton's case as a cautionary tale about occupational stress and silent heart disease. A handful agreed. Doctors still cite those articles in lectures on sudden cardiac death. Clarksville erected a bronze Sutton in May 2017. Jaw set, hat brim low, forever mid-shout. Tourists snap selfies. Children climb the boots, and historians note the plaque's final line. He entertained a nation, but ignored his own warning signs. Online, the mystery soon reignited. In early 2025, a viral video titled "Frank Sutton Mystery Solved, and It Isn't Good" racked up 1 million views in 48 hours, claiming toxic painkillers or insurance sabotage. Passionate storytellers pointed to blurred photocopies of pharmacy receipts and quoted a distant cousin who remembered little white pills. Yet when actual prescription records surfaced, the labels showed nothing stronger than the aspirin. The cousin later admitted he'd filled in blanks for dramatic effect. What did emerge from newly unsealed medical files is simpler, sadder. 3 canceled cardiology appointments in 1973 alone. Each box ticked reschedule, work conflict. He literally penciled his career over his heartbeat. Meanwhile, fresh letters surfaced from Vietnam Marines, declassified in 2024, thanking Sutton for risking sniper fire to make us laugh for 10 minutes. One corporal wrote, "My buddy was hit the next day, but he kept humming your cadence call as they loaded him onto the medevac. You gave us oxygen when the jungle took ours." Those testimonies, plus scholarship funds Sutton quietly endowed for vets' children, paint a fuller portrait than any sitcom rerun ever could. Reruns of Gomer Pyle still air in syndication, often bundled with military recruitment ads, an accidental echo of Sutton's 2 worlds. Acting coaches dissect his line delivery in workshops, noting how he fused staccato drill sergeant bark with subtle eye twitches that signaled buried concern. On theater boards, directors mention the Sutton rule. If the audience can't feel your pulse from the cheap seats, the character isn't alive yet. It's a tribute to his capacity to funnel internal combustion into visible sparks. Each year, the Frank Sutton Scholarship awards tuition to 2 drama students who served or whose parents served in the armed forces. Applicants must submit an essay on balancing ambition with self-care. The winning entry in 2025 began, "I want to honor Sergeant Carter by proving you can chase excellence without letting it chase you into an early grave." Frank Sutton's story, they isn't a neat Hollywood arc. It's a grenade blast of courage, stubbornness, and show-must-go-on tunnel vision. The same drive that shoved him through 14 Pacific landings, that melted TV cameras with pure fiery charisma, also kept him barreling past every red flag chest pang. He wasn't robbed by sabotage or sinister studio plots. He was robbed by his own refusal to step off stage and breathe. So here's the takeaway. Talent can win you fame. Grit can win you medals. But neither grants immunity from the biology ticking under your ribs. Drop a comment below. What warning sign in your life do you refuse to ignore after hearing Frank's? Someone else might need that reminder too. Live big, but live long enough to enjoy the encore.